Hey everybody, it's Chef AJ here. Weight Loss Wednesday is going to be on Tuesday today because tomorrow is the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, and my regular producer, director, Kenny, observes the holiday. So we're doing it on Tuesday. Sorry that I did not give you much notice. If there's anybody that's tuning in now, I always like to ask just one person, or I'm asking all of you, just to tell me if you have sound, because twice we didn't, and it was exasperating for all of you guys, I'm sure. So we'll just wait a second before we actually start with the questions we've received. I'm holding Bailey, by the way. She's our live studio audience. She just loves these Facebook Lives. So, anybody there?
Nothing.
Okay, everybody's asleep. We usually do this at Wednesday at 2, but you do it Wednesday at 2, but today is Tuesday at 3. So somebody...
Teresa said she could hear you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. So Bailey, say hello to everybody. I'm going to put you down as cute as you are. So here we go. All right, so welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday, even though it's Tuesday. We can call it Tighten Up Tuesday or Tough It Up Tuesday. Happy New Year to all of those out there that observe Yom Kippur, so we're not going to shoot tomorrow in deference to the Jewish holiday, but I did receive some questions last week that I didn't get a chance to get to, and you can watch these anytime, even if you can't watch live. So I have Jackie with me today. Jackie is going to be with me tonight, so if you're watching now, if you're free at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is 4 hours from now, we're going to be doing a joint cooking demo from the South Bay Adventist Church. It's the Best of Nature Cooking School in front of about 300 people. It's sold out, but you can catch the live stream for free simply by going to southbaychurch.net. I'll also be giving a lecture. If you want to taste the samples, you got to come in person to 401 South Prospect. If you're available this weekend, I'll be at the Healthy Lifestyle Expo, the Great Veg Source event with Dr. McDougall and Dr. Barnard. So check it out at healthylifestyleexpo.com. So first question, Jackie?
First question is from Rochelle.
Okay.
Rochelle says that she is not losing pounds, but losing inches, but that her stomach inflates throughout the day. Any suggestions?
Okay, so that sounds to me like you're having some kind of bloat or abdominal distension, and so I'm not a doctor, but I would suggest you get that checked out. You know, I had an incident of bloat that lasted 8.5 months from November 20th, 2014 to June 15, 2015, and I literally looked like I was 9 months pregnant the whole time. And I was trying to print out a picture, but my printer's not working to show you. I really did look like I was 9 months pregnant. And since I'm petite now, everybody really thought I was pregnant. And I went to 14 doctors and had myriad diagnoses and medications until I found out what worked for me, which was a $14 supplement from Amazon called Heather's Tummy Fiber. But the point is I got to the bottom of it. It took a really long time, but I did finally get to the bottom of it. And bloat can be for so many reasons, from the simplest being gas to the more complicated ones being, you know, certain types of cancer. If you were to go to the medical literature like Medscape or PubMed and put in bloat, reasons that can cause. So let's do the easiest thing first and look at the food. You know, on the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, of which I believe you're a member, we eat a lot of vegetables, a lot of non-starchy vegetables, and vegetables can vary in the degree to which they produce gas. And if you Google this, you'll get a list from the least gas-producing vegetables to the most gas-producing vegetables. The vegetables that produce the most gas are generally the cruciferous ones, the Brussels sprouts, the kale, the cabbage, the broccoli. Vegetables that produce the least amount of gas are the ones that are botanically fruits, which are things like cucumbers, tomatoes, bell peppers. What I might do is, if you're eating the high gas producing vegetables, maybe eat them steamed. If you're eating them raw, that's a little bit gentler generally on our digestive tract, or go for one of the the less gas producing vegetables and see if that happens. The other thing is realize that Americans eat over 92% of their calories from animal products and processed food. This is food without water, without fiber, and it's like we've literally lost our ability to chew. When you think of foods that people eat, bagel and cream cheese, these are all soft foods that don't require chewing. Chicken McNuggets, Cinnabon. Processed food and animal products don't require the kind of chewing that whole plant food does because it lacks the fiber and it doesn't have the water as well. And so you have to make sure you're chewing really well. Dr. Michael Clapper of True North always says, chew your food into a cream. So make sure that you're eating slowly and mindfully without distraction. So many people these days just eat on the run. They're eating in the car, they're eating while checking their email or watching TV. So make sure that you're doing that as well. but good for you for losing inches. I mean, that to me, I wouldn't go by a number. If you're following the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, we hope you'll gain weight, gaining weight from muscle, from working out. Some of you may remember Shada, who does a lot of these Facebook Lives with me, who's lost over 100 pounds on the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. She had a plateau of 7 months where she didn't lose any weight, and she still lost inches, and her clothes kept getting smaller and smaller. What's interesting is I've maintained my weight for the last 4 years, but I'm down a size. So don't worry about the number. Listen to the calls with John Pierre where he talks about being a scale monkey. We don't recommend weighing yourself in Ultimate Weight Loss, and if you absolutely have to, do what Dr. Lyle says once a month. But losing inches, you're still losing. You're getting healthier if you're following the diet. But yeah, I understand how uncomfortable bloat can be, because I had it for almost a year. It's visually uncomfortable. It's physically uncomfortable. Some people have reported that not eating and drinking at the same time helps. So in other words, separate your liquids from your solid foods. And eat slowly. Chew, chew, chew. Put that fork down between bites. Don't eat hand-to-mouth foods. Eat slowly. Eat without distraction. Don't eat when you're upset. There's so many reasons that you can get gas and distension. There are some natural products out there that sometimes help people. I don't want to recommend things like that I haven't tried. I know that Heather's tummy fiber has really, really helped me. So good luck with that, and congratulations on losing inches, because that's still losing,
Yay.
Anybody on the feed have any questions or comments or?
What time does this air in Dallas each Wednesday?
Oh, great. So I believe that Dallas is, this is a tough question. Okay, so let me tell you this. It's 3:10 here right now. So if it's 5:10 in Dallas now, then you're 2 hours ahead, which means that normally we do this Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time, which would be 4 p.m. Pacific time. So I hope I got the time zone right.
Okay.
All right.
And we have another question.
Sure.
This question is from Leonore.
Okay.
She says, I need to lose 20 pounds, and I'm considering your Ultimate Weight Loss Program.
All right.
What I'd like to know is if I still can consume alcohol on your plan. Both my husband, a cancer survivor who is now a plant-based diet, and I enjoy a glass of wine or two with dinner, which is our special time together. I don't know if I can give it up. What are your thoughts?
Wow. Okay, that question has a lot of tributaries. So first of all, congratulations to your husband for becoming plant-based and for overcoming cancer. That's wonderful. So good for you for there. So I'm going to talk about that first, because you mentioned that he had cancer, and what I'm going to suggest is that he looks into medical literature regarding alcohol consumption and cancer, specifically going to the website of the World Health Organization. They have recently issued a public statement saying that they could no longer recommend any amount of alcohol as safe, that it greatly increases your risk for every single kind of cancer. And so my concern is, as somebody that's already beat cancer, that if they continue drinking, that would be devastating for having the cancer come back. And there is, at first they were just thinking that alcohol consumption was linked to just a few cancers, but now they said we will not recommend any amount of alcohol as safe that increased your risk for every single kind of cancer. And if you already have had cancer, that might be something you want to think about. So that's what I have to say about that. But your question is can you do the Ultimate Weight Loss Program? You can do the Ultimate Weight Loss Program no matter what, but will you lose weight if you continue drinking? Well, in my experience, I've worked with a couple of thousand people now, that especially for females, the answer is no. I have not yet seen a female that could be, that they're fighting weight, very slender, or their slim ideal weight, and still consume alcohol, especially on a regular basis. Now, that's not to say that are there thin people that drink alcohol? Absolutely. But as Dr. Goldhammer would say, if you are somebody that is not at a weight that you're happy with and you're drinking alcohol, then it's probably not you. So let's talk about why it impedes weight loss so great. And there's a few reasons. So it's a great question, by the way, Lenore. Well, first of all, liquid calories are never favorable for weight loss. It doesn't matter if it's juice or smoothie or alcohol, because there's no satiety in liquids. You want to have fiber and water in everything you eat, because fiber and water creates bulk, bulk creates satiety. There's just no satiety in liquids. Chewing creates satiety, and you don't really chew your alcohol, so that's not favorable right there, because it is a liquid calorie. It's 216 calories an ounce. It's a depressant. It causes you to not be as inhibited, so often you will make worse food choices, less than stellar food choices when you're under the influence of alcohol. When you're drinking, it's harder to resist these highly palatable, tempting foods. If you're out drinking socially, let's say in a bar, you generally don't say to the bartender, you know, I'll have the steamed kale. So that makes it hard right there to resist other foods. So many people, the drinking is sort of a gateway to eating more unhealthy food because it lowers your inhibitions, you relax, you know, you're feeling good, and you know, you're getting dopamine from the alcohol, so you want more dopamine, so you have some french fries, things like that. The other thing about alcohol is, one of the reasons they say being drunk is intoxicated is because alcohol is a toxin. It's not a food, it's a drug, and it really is toxic to every cell in our body. And I love how Dr. Clapper says every time you drink, you're killing off a few brain cells, a few liver cells. But when it comes to weight loss, here's the problem. Is it becomes the body's preferred source of fuel. So let's say you got some fat in your butt that you'd like to get rid of. Well, instead of metabolizing that, the fat, and getting rid of the fat, when alcohol is introduced into the human body, it's like danger, Will Robinson, and the body has to get rid of it quickly because it is a toxin that's got to run through the liver. And so all the other bodily processes like digesting your food and burning your fat, it stops. And so it becomes the body's preferred source of fuel, and it doesn't do any, you know, it makes it really, really hard. I can't tell you how many clients I've had that when they stopped drinking, well, they not only look better, they weren't puffy, because alcohol does generally not make you, at least what I've seen, look your best. They've finally lost the weight once and for all. And then when they've had a relapse and started drinking, that's when they always seem to gain their weight back. You know, as far as the marginal health benefits of alcohol that you may have heard about, it's not because it's alcohol. It's from the grapes that the wine is made from. So, you know, cut out the middleman, eat the grapes, get the health benefits, don't drink the alcohol. So in my experience, can you lose the weight while drinking alcohol? I haven't seen it. You know, if you can, please write me and tell me how you did it. You know, it's a high caloric food. It doesn't have fiber. It doesn't have nutrients. And the other thing I want to tell you, this is just an aside, and again, this is not medical research, but before I became a chef, my job was an activity director at retirement homes, and some of them very high-end retirement homes, where they would serve alcohol, like wine, with every meal. And it'd be interesting because I would meet these people in their 80s, 90s, and even 100s, and you could almost tell which ones were the lifelong drinkers just by looking at them before you actually saw which ones were imbibing in alcohol on a nightly basis. It doesn't really make you look good. It's dehydrating, it's acidic. These were the ones that were always wrinkly. And just same thing with the people that ate sugar. So if for no other reason, do it for vanity. I mean, people that are true alcoholics, they're always, you know, generally very, very thin. And, you know, I'm not saying you're an alcoholic, that you drink every night, but that doesn't negate the fact that alcohol is still addictive. And, you know, so my experience has taught me that no, you can't be super skinny if you're a lady and drinking, especially every night, but I still welcome you to try the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. 21 or 30 days and see if that will jumpstart your weight loss, and then add it back as long as it keeps going. Yeah.
There's a question from Naomi Livingston. She says, I've seen you and Shada eat a huge bowl of rice and veggies.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you eat all that and still lose weight?
You can eat all, okay. Yes, and let me say this. This is what I speak about in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. The first module is where I give the lecture on the secrets to ultimate weight loss, which I'll be giving in Portland, by the way, in October. I believe it's 22nd and 23rd. We follow the principles of calorie density, eating foods to the left of the red line, or foods that are the lowest in caloric density, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains and legumes, which are all at a calorie density of 600 calories per pound or less. It is impossible to gain weight at that caloric density. Most people will lose weight at that caloric density until they're at their slim ideal weight. I used to say everybody will, but there are people I've met that suffer from diseases like bulimia, binge eating disorder, that will eat so much of that food and not lose weight, but they won't gain weight. The thing is when you eat those foods, you're still going to be your healthiest self, because these are the healthiest foods on the planet. These are the same foods that Dr. Neil Barnard puts on his PCRM Power Plan that he recommends for optimum health: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. If you're not including the foods to the right of the red line, which are the high-fat plant foods like the nuts, seeds, avocado, and chocolate, or the highly processed foods like the sugars, flours, alcohol, and dairy, or animal products, then yes, most people can eat very, very large portions, doing an eating style called ad libitum, as much as they want, whenever they want, as often as they want, and lose weight. I lost these 50 pounds eating tons of rice, tons of potatoes, but also eating tons of non-starchy vegetables. I always make sure that half of my plate is non-starchy vegetables visually, so I'm eating a starch-based diet by calories, but by volume, perhaps it is a vegetable-based diet, and I always start my day with a couple of pounds of non-starchy vegetables. So yes, we do eat huge quantities, and that's why we love this program, because every other diet style left us hungry, and we would lose weight, but we would gain it back because we were eating such small portions. So the answer is almost everybody will lose weight eating tons of nutrient-dense but calorically dilute foods like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. Nobody gains weight at that caloric density unless they're eating the other foods. I hope I answered your question. If you want more specifics, please consider. Sorry about that. Thanks, Naomi.
So the next question is from Pat,
Okay.
who says that he saw your lecture at the recent Engine 2 conference in Dallas.
I remember you. Hi, Pat.
Enjoyed it very much,
Thank you.
but wanted you to elaborate a bit more in calorie density. At the end of the day, doesn't all that matter is how many calories we consume, regardless of where they come from? Can we still lose weight and eat foods to the right of the red line as long as we don't overshoot our daily calorie needs?
Right. Well, so, okay, that's a good question. I hope I can answer it in the time that we have left. So, it's true. The calories do count. Calories matter. And anytime you eat less calories than your body burns, you will lose weight. That is true. But that's also the reason that diets fail, because almost every diet style is based on counting calories, weighing your portions, counting carbs, eating thimble-sized portions of food that's not so healthy. And so what happens is people can white knuckle it and use willpower for a while and eat smaller portions of food and lose weight, but it's not sustainable. And they end up getting so hungry that they then overeat and gain back the weight they lost and then some. But when you understand the principles of caloric density that I introduced you to in my lecture in Dallas, you understand that there's more to it than just keeping your calories low, because you need to feel satiated. Satiety is literally the end of hunger. It's that feeling of fullness you get that tells you to stop eating. And one of the things that triggers satiety is having your stretch receptors, which line your digestive tract, activated. So while it's true you can eat anything and still lose weight if your calories are low enough, if you don't feel satiated, you will not be able to stick with that diet style. And you can't maintain a diet style that keeps you hungry all the time. Now, every diet style works. They all do. But most are not sustainable. But when you eat accordance with the principles of calorie density, you can literally take in twice as much food, as Naomi had mentioned in the last question, and literally eat half as many calories. Now, I'm going to be speaking at the Healthy Lifestyle Expo this weekend, and when I give my calorie density lecture in Los Angeles, I bring 24 jars with me. These are glass jars that are the size of our stomachs. Our stomachs hold about a liter of food, which is 4.22 cups. And I fill them with all the different foods I'm talking about, from the healthiest to the unhealthiest, so that people can visually see the difference in what 400 calories of oil or nuts or peanut butter looks like versus 400 calories of rice, beans, potatoes, kale, or berries. So I want to show you something now that might help you understand this. Now, there's something known as the BMR, your basal metabolic rate, and that's the amount of calories that you burn at rest. And you can get that measured. Some doctors' offices have it, some hospitals, but there's a way to figure out what your BMR is. Now, most people's BMR is about 10 times their weight. So I weigh 117 pounds, plus or minus 3, but I'm bad at math, so let's just say I weigh 120. So that would mean my BMR is 1,200. A lot of things affect your BMR, your genetics, your metabolism, whether you're on medication, things like that. I'm hypothyroid. I actually lost all this weight while being hypothyroid and not being medicated, but I do take medication for my hypothyroidism now. But the point I was trying to make is, even though my metabolism was really, really slow, I still was able to lose weight being hypothyroid. So I had this test done, and it says that my basal metabolic rate, which means that if I were laying in the bed with the flu or a broken leg, just to beat my heart and breathe my lungs, I, AJ, need 1,110 calories. That's less than the 1,200, which most people would be 10 times the weight. Now, I picked this up. I live next door to Trader Joe's. You want to get a close-up of this, Jackie? So this is the Trader Joe's M&Ms, and it killed me to buy this because I was worried somebody was going to see me. This is an 8-ounce bag of M&Ms, and you would certainly, if you go to the movies, get a bag this size, if not bigger. So this 8-ounce bag of M&Ms contains 1.5 cups of food. It also contains 1,200 calories and 60 grams of fat. Now, it would be pretty easy to eat this amount of food. I've eaten twice this many when I was, eating this way. So it's not that hard to eat 1.5 cups of food like this. Well, if I ate this 1.5 cups of food, this would be all the food I would get for the day in order to maintain my weight. Now, if you're somebody that weighs more than me and wants to lose, sure, you could have your 1,200 calories from this, but guess what? You're going to be starving. There's no fiber in here, there's no water in here, there's no micronutrients. Now, let's say instead I wanted to eat sweet potatoes, which is my favorite food. Again, I got both these bags of organic sweet potatoes at Trader Joe's. I got the Japanese and I got the regular. It says on the label that the amount of calories in each of these bags is 1,100 calories. So for less calories than this 8-ounce bag of M&Ms, generic M&Ms, chocolate's 2,500 calories a pound, so it makes sense that a half a pound would be 1,200 calories. Dietary fiber is nil. I could have 3 pounds of organic sweet potatoes in multiple varieties. I decided to test this theory and see if I could eat 3 pounds of sweet potatoes. And I eat a lot, and all I could get in was 1.5 pounds, about 550 calories from sweet potatoes, and I was so full I could barely eat the rest of the day. And finally, later on, I got a little bit hungry and I had some salad. So Pat, you're right. You can eat anything and lose weight if the calories are low enough, but you won't be satiated. And if you're not satiated, you're not going to be able to stick to that dietary lifestyle. When you understand caloric density, you really can. Most people eat all you want, as often as you want, whenever you want, a style known as ad libitum, as long as you're eating the right foods. Foods of a caloric density of 600 calories or less, which are fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. And we go into this in more detail in the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. But you see, Americans eat less than 10% of their calories from these foods, which are also the most nutrient-dense foods. These are the foods that contain both fiber and water. Fiber and water together create bulk, which is what creates satiety. But unfortunately, these other foods like flour and sugar and animal products, they don't contain fiber, they don't contain water, so they have very little satiety. So in order to feel full on them, you have to overeat on calories. So you're right, you can eat any number of calories lower than what your body needs, you will lose weight, but will you be healthy, will you be satisfied? The other thing is the foods that we eat to the left of the red line, the healthiest foods on the planet, they contain micronutrients, they contain vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and antioxidants, things that have been proven to not only prevent common diseases of lifestyle like heart disease and type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disease, even certain cancers, but also reverse it. Whereas a lot of these foods that the people want to eat, like flour and sugar and processed foods and oil and animal products and alcohol, well, these have no fiber, these have no water, and they have no nutrients. So again, weight loss is important if it's important to you, but it's also about health. We call it UWL, the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, because as my partner John Pierre said, nobody would register if it was called the Love and Compassion Program, but truly it's a program about health, because we have people come to the program that are not even overweight, just because it's the safest and sanest and most sustainable eating style. You get to eat a lot of food, you get to feel full and satisfied, and you get to feel healthy. Are there any more questions?
No, just a hi from Deanna.
Hi, Deanna.
Mosley.
Hello there. Mosley, remember Downton Abbey, my favorite show? Remember Mr. Mosley? He was one of my favorite characters. Any relation to a fictional character? So if there's no more questions, I thank you so much for watching another installment of Weight Loss Wednesday, even though today's Tuesday. We'll be back on schedule next week, which I believe is October 19th, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Send your questions in. My website is www.eatunprocessed.com. Please consider signing up so you'll be notified of all the great stuff we have coming up for the holidays. We've got webinars and all kinds of fun stuff. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm Chef AJ, the creator of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and I really do believe you can have both the health and the body you deserve. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.